I started sleeping with dogs at the age of 16. My name is Amanda, and this is my story. A story I wish I had never told anyone, but I can't keep hiding. Everyone needs to learn from my story. If anyone told me that I would be sleeping with dogs just to make money at the age of 16, I would not believe that, but it happened to me, and this was how I found myself in this situation. I was born into a very poor family in Lagos. When I say poor, I mean very poor. My parents were struggling to eat, including me. I was the only daughter and child. My father was a security man. He was paid a small amount. And my mother stayed at home with me. I stopped going to school because they couldn't continue to pay my school fees. Hunger was our fourth person in the family. It dealt with us like an army. But sadly, my father died. He died right at his work post. He could not bear it anymore. My mom cried and cried. I cried even more. After my father was buried, my mother was not the same anymore. She felt sick and died too. I became an orphan. My uncle took our small property, claiming he was the rightful owner. And I was left in the street of Lagos, sleeping under the bridge, inside the gutter, just to survive. Life was dealing with me. I suffer. In fact, I did all kinds of quick jobs like breaking firewood and many more. It couldn't help me. Sometimes I pray for my late parents to come and take me. But all these things changed one evening. I was selling my last orange, ready to go back to sleep under the bridge again. A black car came and parked in my front. It was raining that evening. A lady came out of the car. Her name was Cynthia. I thought she was coming to buy orange. "Why are you sitting alone under the rain?" "It late already," she says politely. I told her I have nowhere to go. I told her that I sleep under the bridge. Then she offered to take me to her place, but I rejected, because Lagos was a scary place. You can't trust anybody. "Do not be afraid, come with me. I'm not a bad person," Cynthia says to me. Then I followed her. She gave me food at the house. She bought new clothes for me. For once I felt like paradise. I was enjoying the good things of life now. But after a week, Cynthia came with a total different topic. She sat me down and told me, "I have been good to you, but you need to start making money just like I do. Can you work?" Cynthia says. "Yes," I answered. "I can do anything for you." Then Cynthia told me about the job. "They are going to pay you plenty of money. You will become rich. They are my clients. They don't like women, but they need the woman to play with their pet," Cynthia says. I didn't understand at first. "Play with their pets?" I asked. "Yes, play with their dogs, like satisfy their dogs," Cynthia says clearly. Immediately, I dropped the juice I was drinking, pouring it on the ground. Immediately, I felt like I was sitting with the devil. Never. Never, Cynthia. So this is how you make your money. I would never sleep with dogs just to make money. I scream at her. If you sleep with their dogs for one night, you will become rich. Think about this. You are an orphan, no father or mother, just one night. Cynthia says to me, "I will never sleep with dogs just to make money." I screamed at Cynthia. "So, this is what you do to make money." Cynthia saw my anger and she laughed. "You are not a child anymore. I can't keep feeding you. I picked you from the street and gave you a good life. Now it's your turn to help yourself. One night, Amanda, just one night." I looked at her. I was burning like fire. I would rather die than do such business. "I am just 16, it is a sin," I shouted at Cynthia. "Poverty is the real sin," Cynthia replied. "I will go back to my poverty," I replied. I dropped the glass cup in my hand, and I began walking out of the room. I was willing to go back into the streets of Lagos again. She saw me going and she didn't even ask me to stop. Rather, she was smiling. I was scared, and I walked faster off Cynthia's compound. I left. Yes, I left the paradise I was enjoying at her house, and I went back to the streets. I can't sleep with dogs. 3 days after I left her house, I began to sleep under the bridge again. Hunger began to deal with me again. This time it was even worse than the first. Because I already tasted a good life at Cynthia's house, the food and clothes she gave me, I got used to it, and now going into the street again felt like hell. I decided to go meet Auntie Debbie, my mother's sister. I told her, I have nowhere to go. She sat me down and gave me food. but she won't allow me stay with her. Amanda, you are big enough to take care of yourself. You need to go. You can't stay here with me, Auntie Debbie says. I ate the food and left. At least she even gave me food. Night came, and I went under the bridge to sleep. But there were other people under the bridge too, and some were men. That night, I didn't know what came over them. They wanted to rape me. I ran away from the boys and went deep inside the street. I didn't even know where I was going. I later slept behind a tree. The next morning, I realized that Cynthia was right. I need to start making money for myself. I cannot take the suffering anymore. I need to call Cynthia. I walked to a woman borrow her phone to call Cynthia. She gave me and I brainstormed her contact offhand. The phone ranged and Cynthia picked immediately. I spoke sadly. Cynthia, it's me, Amanda. I am ready to do the job. I am ready to sleep with dogs if that would take my suffering away. I ended the call after saying that. I cried because I knew I just made a bad decision. The day I was born, I never believed that I would start sleeping with dogs. But there was no other choice for me. The worst part was that there was nobody to advise me or tell me what to do and what not to do. My parents are already late. I went back to Cynthia's house, and the next morning, she told me that I made the right decision by taking that dog business. You will not regret it, Cynthia says. She told me that after today my life would change for good and my suffering would be gone. I smiled, but the smile was not real. She gave me food and told me to get ready because tomorrow she will be taking me to her clients who will pay me to stay with their dogs. I ate the food and slept. Then the next morning, she woke me up and gave me a dress, a very short dress. I followed her to her car, and she took me to a location. A well-built mansion. It was not just a mansion, it looked like a museum, but not a museum. There were tall men standing and guarding the gate. Cynthia spoke with the men, and they opened the gate for us. We drive in. Then we enter the main building. It was a very big and confusing place to be. We went to the living room where a man sat like a king. Then 2 other men sat beside him. Cynthia went ahead and began speaking with the man. I could clearly hear them. This is the girl I told you about, Cynthia says to the man. Is she ready for the job? Yes, boss, she is ready. Do you think your dogs will like her? Haha, she look young and beautiful. This is exactly what the dogs want, the man replied. Then Cynthia made a sign for me to come forward. I came with fears. The man looked at me for a while. Turn around, he commanded. And I began turning around. He laughed and told his guard to get me ready for the night. Take her away. My dogs are already hungry, he says. Then 2 men came and took me by my arm. I look at Cynthia, and she says silently, Go girl. The men took me to an empty room. Just a bed alone. They removed my clothes right in front of my eyes, making me naked. I thought they wanted to sleep with me, but no, they didn't. They left me and went out of the room. I sat alone with no clothes. Then suddenly, the door opened again, and 2 dogs walked into the room. 2 big American dogs. The door was closed immediately, and I saw the dogs, hungry-looking dogs. They were licking their teeth and standing right before me. Then I began to think, but how exactly could this dog do that to me? It just an animal, it not even as wise to do such a thing. Then the door opened again. It was the boss. 3 of them came inside the room. 3 elderly men who were big enough to be my father. My mind began to race faster. Hey, don't be scared, we won't touch you at all. It's the work of our dogs. Our duty is to watch it while it happens, one of the men spoke. That moment I realized why they actually pay people to sleep with their dogs. All they wanted was to watch their dog do that, and they find happiness in watching. So, all you gain is watch your dogs do that to people? All that money you spend, millions. All in the sake of watching your dog. I asked them in fears. Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha. The 3 men laughed. Yes, you are right. Money is never a problem. Now stop asking questions and do the job you came for. I quickly controlled myself immediately. I was a virgin. This night was going to be my worst night, but after this night, I would forget poverty forever. The men came close and held my arms, and they made a way for their dogs to do with me. I was crying like never before. My voice could possibly be heard from anywhere in the state because it was so loud. And again, I realized that the dogs were more wiser than I thought. They behaved exactly like a woman. Two of the dogs, one after the other. When they were contented, they opened the door, and the animals went out. The men stood there with me. "How is it?" one of the men asked me. I was just lying on the floor like a log of wood. I could not respond to him. I said, "How was the first play?" "Answer me," he shouted. I managed to reply, because he was getting angry. "Sir, it was fine." "Don't say that next time," you are expected to say. "It was delicious." I nodded and said exactly as instructed. "It was delicious, sir." He laughed and laughed. And they all joined him and laughed. They turned their back and began walking out one by one. The last man said, "Call us boss, don't call us sir, because we are your boss now." "Yes, boss," I replied instantly, not wanting to get them angry. They left me alone in the room. It was night already, so I just slept like that. I didn't even stood up. By morning I woke up and I saw how messed up I look, with blood all over me. I quickly used the bathroom beside me and washed myself clean. I thought I was done. I thought the job was done. I didn't even know it just started. I sat in the room waiting for them to free me and pay me my money. Then two of the house guards came and opened the door. I stood up and was ready to go. "Sit down there. Sit down," they shouted. I quickly moved back. "Please, I already did the job. What again?" "You have to feed the rich dogs their morning food," the men say, and left me. I sat back and began crying. I knew the dog was going to come again this morning. What have I brought myself into? They brought the dogs to sleep with me again that morning. This time it was not as painful as the last night. It was easier, but I felt pain. After that, they left me alone in the empty room. I was not even putting on my clothes. The door opened again, and I was scared. I thought they were bringing in the dogs for the third time. But it was Cynthia who opened the door. Immediately I saw her. I quickly felt relieved. I knew she had come to pick me up. "Dress up yourself. We are leaving. Your job is done," Cynthia said and smiled at me. But I was not smiling back at all. The experience I had with the dogs could not make me smile. She took me out of the room, and we went to meet the men who owned the dogs. They paid Cynthia. I saw them transfer money to her account. "This is for your girl. My dogs really enjoyed their time with her. We can't wait to have her here again," one of the men said. His eyes were on me as he spoke. I just faked a smile and bent my head. "I will never come here again," I said to myself. Me and Cynthia left the big house. She took me in her car, and we went straight to bank. We withdrew some money, and then straight to Cynthia's house. We sat on the couch, and she began to speak. "The man gave me 5 million naira to give you." I got shocked at the first. 5 good million? Just one night with the dogs. "What exactly do they do to make money?" I asked. "Ha ha, ha ha." Cynthia laughed. "See, this is just the start. The more you do, the more you get increase in your earnings from them." "No, Cynthia, I'm not doing anything anymore. I will use the 5 million to start a business," said to her.